background.
What's good, everyone? It's your boy Nazi with another video for the channel. Welcome back to DMV Sports Zone. Your eyes do not deceive you. I am talking into a microphone for the first time on the channel. If you guys checked out Corey's on the Warpath channel on Sunday night, I was there as well with the new mic. So I know there's some difficulties with it right now, but I'll make sure to get it fixed. And glad to have Tony from Protech Sports, as always, on the channel. We have a lot to talk about. Boston football team, man, making news every single day, every single minute, every single day. And this week was nothing different. I do want to get started right away with the news earlier in the week of Marty Hurney reportedly being hired as the next general manager of the Washington football team. What do you think it means for Kyle Smith's place with the team? And also, what do you think of the move to hire Hurney? And what do you think his responsibilities will be with the Washington football team?
All right, I will start with what I thought about the move. When I first heard it, I was pissed. I'll be frankly honest. Not gonna lie to you, I was extremely perturbed. I was like, why are we hiring this dude? Like Ryan Cowden was out there, Rick Smith was out there, like former Texans GM. There's a bunch of GMs out there that was better than Marty Hurney. Why? And I was like, okay, well, he has the connection with Ron Rivera. Okay, respect, that's fine. I don't think his role here is going to be very, very immense, to be honest. Because the fact they hired another guy we'll talk about in a second. And I think Kyle Smith will still be here as well. I just don't think Kyle Smith is on people's radars right now. Speaking of what it means for Kyle Smith. So I think Kyle Smith will be here for another season. But I think he's going to be probably good as gone much sooner than later. But as for like Marty Hurney, I think this probably great to hire like a C. It's okay. He's on first round draft picks, but outside of that, he doesn't do anything well that really jumps out at me. So it's a man hire. I'm not gonna cry about it, but I'm not gonna be like, yeah, we got No.
I kind of feel the same way. I'm gonna be honest. I do want to shout out the people who just joined the chat. 3-time Super Bowl champ Skins, thank you for joining. Tone, as always. Patrick West, DC Big Oso, thank you guys as always for joining. My thoughts though, pretty similar to Tony. I thought it was a meh move, to be honest, right away. But the more that I thought about it, the more that I realized that Ron Rivera wants guys around him that he knows very well, that he knows will put in the work and make this team a very good team for years to come. Right? We don't just want this playoff run to be a one-trick pony. We don't just want it to be like a one-year-only thing. I think, he's had some successes over the years, largely in the first round, to be honest. DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, Julius Peppers, even Thomas Davis in the middle of the first round years back. But like I said, it's usually in the first round, doesn't really do too well later rounds. But I know there was people saying this all over Twitter when the news came out. Marty Hurney isn't really here just to be a draft specialist. That isn't his big thing, evaluating college talent. His big thing is just making sure to have the right pieces on the team and actually just fulfill the general manager's duties. And I don't think he'll be awful or anything. He has had some late gems as well in the 5th round. Josh Norman, we all know very well from his time here, but he was a stud in Carolina. So Hurney had a lot to do with that. Picking him. Go ahead.
I'm interrupt, but like even like Josh Norman here wasn't that bad. Like it got bad at the end, but the first couple years he was still playing like top 12 corner level. He was still playing good ball. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't trash. So it was a good pick by Marty Hurney. But a quick note though, did Hurney ran the 20? I mean, when did McCaffrey get drafted? 2017, right?
2017.
He's a Dave Gettleman pick. He's a Dave Gettleman pick, not a Marty Hurney pick.
I mean, they gave. I looked some of his picks up. They gave him credit for the McCaffrey pick, so and maybe that source was wrong.
Yeah, that's a Gettleman pick, but okay. They gave it to him. I'll take it.
But once again, I was pretty much on the same boat as you, but at the same time, his responsibilities won't just be confined to, again, making draft selections. He has a lot of things to work on this offseason, right? We have a bunch of cap money. He's going to be in charge of the free agency pickups that we ultimately do get. So I don't think it's too bad of a hire. I do want to move on to the other hire that we, I believe, was reported today. and that is the hire of Martin Mayhew as a senior front office personnel guy with the team. And I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on the hire once again, but also what do you think his responsibilities will entail, right?
All right. So my thoughts first was like, WTF again. I was like, why are we
even with the name?
former guys? Like, what are we doing? Like, just I don't like Kyle Smith. I was like, what are you all doing? I was like,
yeah.
I mean, I look at his track record. I did my research. I was like, okay. He's a former 49ers VP of player personnel. So okay, got guys like Bolson here, and got guys like Tevin Coleman on good contracts, and he didn't really overpay no one, nothing like that. Well, him and the GM, of course, him and John Lynch collaborate on those things. But I was like, okay, all right. So he has a good track record of picking good players along with John Lynch, collaborating with John Lynch. So I was like, okay, all right, it's a good hire. I do like it. I mean, I like that hire a lot more than I like the Marty Hurney hire. But I grade the Marty Hurney hire C. I get this one an A. This is incredible. This is a great hire. And I think him and Cal Smith should collaborate on drafting players. Maybe Hurney might have a couple ears here and there on it, but it's really going to be Cal Smith and Martin Mayhew. Collaborate on drafting players, bringing players in, evaluating talent in general. I think them two be a nice 1-2 punch while Cal Smith is still here, because I don't think he's here too much longer. But you
bring up a good point. I actually did not think this was a meh move. I thought it was actually a very good move. All of you guys who were here for the last live stream last Wednesday, hopefully you remember that I had two guys at the top of my list, and they were Mayhew, and they were he was the assistant general manager of the Buffalo Bills. I believe his name is Jim Schoen. Those were the two guys, or Joe Schoen. Those are the two guys that I really wanted, and ultimately we ended up with one. I didn't think we were going to have both Mayhew and the guy from Carolina, but we ended up with both. And I think, honestly, it was mentioned on Twitter today, I think it's just going to be a general manager by committee sort of approach. I think no individual in that group will have too much more power over the other. I think Ron Rivera is just the lead guy. He's going to be overseeing the operations, both in the player personnel department and, less on the business side, right? Because we have Jason right now. But I think it should be interesting. It's definitely not a typical front office arrangement, right? We don't usually see these things in other teams, and we still have Kyle Smith, which I agree with you. I don't think he will be here for much longer, but I do think at the very least, he will be here this year, and he'll definitely help us, improve from the 7-9 season that we had last year, and hopefully make legitimate playoff run for years to come.
Definitely agree with that. I said, even if Kyle Smith were to walk next year, or let's just say, I think he's here this year, but let's say he doesn't walk next year, Martin Mayhew's still a great football mind to have in your front office. So I think we're going to still be fair off if we lose Kyle Smith. I think they picked up Martin Mayhew as a insurance policy too, just in case if someone else gets promoted as assistant GM or GM somewhere else. They do have someone in the back pocket. They aren't just, I'm saying, like, they're not like completely like lost. They're like, oh crap, we just lost our only talent evaluator. We need to find someone. They got to scramble. They can just go in house. Hey Martin, come on here. You're young, intelligent brother. We're gonna put you over here. You're gonna invite talent, and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep rocking how we rolling. So, I think it's a great move. It's a great move to me. I said it's an A. It's an A move to me.
I agree. I do want to address this point from BC Big Oso about Mayhew. I think that narrative is not necessarily fair, because if you look at his picks over the years, he was responsible for the pickup of Darius Slay in the draft, and that wasn't like an early first-round pick or anything, right? So it wasn't a layup there. Also responsible for the Deebo Samuel, Mike McGlinchey, Fred Warner pick, who was picked up in the 5th round as an all-pro linebacker. He picked him up. Brandon Ayuk, who's a very solid, very good young receiver in this league, who should be a good young receiver for years to come. Also signed, he took some risk in free agency, and it definitely paid off. He signed Richard Sherman, right, at an advanced age, who ultimately was a pivotal part on why they made that Super Bowl run. Obviously, they had Nick Bosa, right, who's the biggest part, but Richard Sherman was holding it down in the secondary. Jason Verrett was also a risky acquisition. We all know how many times this guy is injured, like way too many times, but he picked them up. Their secondary was solidified after that, and you know, he also drafted Matthew Stafford, and that's where I want to get at right now. We see it all over social media right now. Do you think the Mayhew pickup is a clear sign indicator that we will at least be looking for Matthew Stafford in the offseason, if not outright picking him up through a trade?
I do think with this move, he is on our radar. I would not deny that. That's kind of, I'm not going to say it's super obvious, but it's obvious enough. I will say that. But, yeah, May's going to be great, by the way. Shout out to you. May used to play in Washington. Oh, yeah, he did. You're correct. He used to play for the former Washington Redskins.
Yes, he did.
So, my quick opinion on the correlation. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's that name change. I'm keep my
out with the name and also the guy on the jersey 91.
Yes, yeah. I guess we'll talk about that a little later too. But my opinion on the correlation between Mayhew and Stafford, I do think he'll be on our radar. Don't get me wrong. I don't think outright we would trade for him. First of all, Detroit has to make him available.
Yeah,
make him available.
Forgetting that.
They bring their guys in. They brought the head coach in there, Dan Campbell today. They bring a GM in. They like Matthew Stafford. He's not going to be available. So he has to make him available to trade. First off, I think they will make him available. Let me state that as well. But I do think that he might have us as a projected destination. Look, I'll go here. But it seems like San Fran jump on before we do too. They're looking for a quarterback. They believe in Jimmy Garoppolo, you know what I mean? So other teams that are looking for a quarterback, they might jump on them before we jump on the Matthew Stafford sweepstakes. So we'll see. But I definitely think he'll have us as one of his preferred destinations if he asks for a trade.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's definitely gonna ask for a trade. I don't think he wants to be a part of another rebuild in Detroit. Feels like every single year they're in a rebuild. He's 30 plus years old. He's been injured a lot. That's also, huge risk that we would take on if we did ultimately trade for him. Again, if you guys look back at my previous streams, if you're not going for the dream guy, who we'll mention a little bit later on the stream, I think Matthew Stafford is perfect. I think he is a guy that will help you win now. I know he doesn't have a lot of playoff wins on his resume, but who does in Detroit, right? You gotta think about that as well. You also have to think about his talent, right? He hasn't really declined the last couple of years. He's technically, quarterbacks can be in their prime up until age 33, age 34. At the very least, right? So he's still technically in his QB prime, right? He can still sling the ball. He has one of the strongest arms in the entire NFL. Isn't too old, and I think he would be a great quarterback here in DC. We don't need a top 5 quarterback here, although it would be nice to go after a guy again that we'll mention later. We don't need a top 5 quarterback. If you get a top 10 quarterback, top 12-ish sort of quarterback, with that defense that we have, add some more weapons. It's not like Matthew Stafford is going to take up all of our money, especially if we release Alex Smith, right? Which I expect we do. So I think we can pick up Matthew Stafford, get another receiver, potentially draft, a tight end, or draft some more receivers on offense, maybe draft a running back for insurance, or go after a guy in Curtis Samuel, who I think Washington, I'm not a huge fan of him, but I think he has a legit chance of being here in DC. The connections are just there. You have, you have the new GM, you have Ron Rivera, you have Washington Panthers, right, that are being established. Curtis Samuel. What do you think about Curtis Samuel? You think we can? One, would you like to pick up, and then 2, do you think we have a legit chance of going after him?
It depends on the money. I'll say that. There are plenty of guys on a bargain that you can pick up that I probably won't say in this video because I'm gonna do it for my own channel, but I can give a couple examples. Why not? A guy like Zach Pascal. I think that's a perfect budget guy that you probably get on $5, maybe $6 million a season. Who can get the same production
as your wide receiver 2?
No. I'm talking picking someone else up and picking Zach Pascal up. I mean just tearing the receiver position out, like just tearing it apart outside the young guys that we have, like AGG and Cam Sims and Terry. I'm just tearing it apart. And look, there, kick rocks, Steven Sims, kick rocks, all y'all kick rocks. We're going to just revamp the whole receiver position. We might draft another guy, lay in the draft, get 2 guys in free agency. We're going to just rebuild the whole damn thing. Yeah, guy like Zach Pascal is a guy you get on a budget. John Ross, I think someone you can get on a budget. I think he's a boomer bust guy. Like if he can come out here and just prove he can stay healthy, which I think he was healthy last year, he was a healthy scratch. He has all the tools.
I don't know.
Like a 1-year prove it deal, Natty. I don't mean we're paying him any kind of money. Like, hey, just 1 year. We did Ronald Darby and it worked. I'm not saying.
Ronald Darby had a legit Pro Bowl / up there when it comes to All Pro year on that Super Bowl run with the Eagles. A lot of people forget that. Even Eagles fans forget that he was arguably one of their best defenders on that Super Bowl run, and he's just been injured the last couple of years. But with Ross, I mean, has he shown anything beyond getting past the defense a couple of times?
Yeah, that one stretch in 2019, if you remember, he had a 6-game stretch. 5 of them games were 100-yard games. He almost beat Seattle by his daggone self. Him and Andy Dalton almost beat Seattle by himself. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. As a tool, he has all the physical tools. He has the speed. He has everything. He don't have the drops. He just don't stay healthy. He was healthy this year. They didn't play him. I'm just saying, just take a shot at him. I'm not saying go, hey, you're going to depend on John Ross. I'm not saying go depend on John Ross. I'm saying just, hey, look, week 8 of free agency, he's sitting there. You can use another receiver for depth, pick him up and see what he do. If he boom, cool. If he don't boom, hey, you want to spend $2-3 million on him, he can kick rocks. I don't care. That's what I mean. But that's what Curtis Samuel, though. Like, I wouldn't mind picking him up. I don't think he's a number 2 receiver. Shout out to Louis T for this. I think we all talk about this with Louis T as well. He's a gadget guy. He's a gadget guy who can give you semi number 2 production. Like he's a tweener. He's right between the 2 and 3, like a 2.5. He's like right there. I can give you number 2 production, but I do number 3 things. It's like, that's cool, but I need a legit 2. Like I can't have a 2.5 or a tweener, and you can do the trick plays and all that, and you might give me 600 yards receiving. No, I need a legit 2 who's going to guarantee me give me 750 to 800 yards per season, simply put. And I think Zach Pascal is even leaning towards that. If he gets more targets, he can get a lot of targets in Indy. Like, yeah, you had T.Y. You ran the ball a ton. They ran the ball almost more than anybody in the league. They just ran the ball a ton with John Hill and the guys. And Naheem Hines gets like 10 targets a week. Freaking right. Like,
he has to running backs.
So he didn't get a lot of targets, but he was still productive. You look at the stats; he still added 50 catches and 600 yards, and he only got 80 targets. So I mean, it's some low key guys you can pick up if they just pick up their number of targets. They can eat, and you don't got to spend a bunch of money on Curtis Samuel. That's just my opinion. I get Curtis on a budget. I'm just not going to spend a bunch of money on Curtis. I just not big.
I'm of the same mindset. I think Curtis Samuel would be a good fit here, but when you're factoring in the money and the contract that he's probably going to get, might be a little too pricey, even with the Carolina connections we see here. I will say though, I mean, we're in a win now, like sort of mood, sort of mentality with this team, and we have a bunch of guys that are up for contract on that defense in 2 or 3 years. We can't pay for everyone. We need to win now. We need to go after. Not take any shortcuts, go after a legit wide receiver 1, in my opinion. I think Allen Robinson has been my top receiver for the last 2.5 months, and I'm sticking with him. We need to at least give us a chance to go. Yeah, at least wide receiver 1. Yeah, at least go. Yes, I'm serious. Go for another wide receiver 1 in Allen Robinson. Potentially, dish out some money for him. If he doesn't sign with the team, if he asks for 24, 25 million, then no, it's a no. But if he asks for maybe 20, 21, that's usually what high-end wide receiver 1s are getting nowadays. So I think Allen Robinson is definitely the top choice, just like Amari Cooper was, not for me, but for the Washington football team last year. And if we don't go after him, there are other wide receiver 1 targets as well that are on the market. Kenny Galladay, if you asked me midway through the season how much would he cost, probably been much more than he is now. I think, he's shown that he's been too injury prone over the last couple of years to really command a contract worth $20 million on average per year. I just don't think that's going to happen. So if you can't get those 2 guys, though, I like Curtis Samuel. Sammy Watkins, someone brought that up. Jay brought that up in the chat. Thank you, Jay, for doing the stream. Sammy Watkins, he's been way too inconsistent in my opinion over the last couple of years. I know he does have the speed. I get that. But if you can't produce consistently in the Kansas City Chiefs offense, right, that is catered to their receivers, right? I know they have a bunch of weapons, which limits, the targets that guys not named Hill or Kelsey get. I understand that, but at the same time, he just hasn't been consistent. He's been injured as well, I believe, and but if you want to take a flyer on Sammy Watkins, take a flyer. Less so, in my opinion, on Ross, because, I really haven't seen much from him the last couple of years. I know you said 2019, he had that really good game. Andy Dalton was the starting quarterback of Cincinnati Bengals. That tells you all you need to know about how times have changed since then. But also, some Jay as well, with the fire comments. You brought up someone that I even mentioned that I think possibly could be our leading guy in terms of what the Washington football team is actually going to go after. And I think that's Corey Davis. Corey Davis is not a legit wide receiver 1, but he's a high-end wide receiver 2, in my opinion, after the amazing season that he had this year. He had some blow-up games this year. I know he wasn't, giving you 100-plus yards every single game, what wide receiver does, but he was pretty solid throughout the season. And something that is super underrated, Tony, something that is super underrated that I saw every single time the Titans played. Usually watch the games for fantasy purposes, but every single time I watch them play, this guy is an underrated blocker. He's one of the best wide receivers in the blocking aspect in the entire National Football League. And if you have a guy like Terry, who's a very, very, very strong, willing blocker, and then you also have Corey Davis, that could open up some things in the running game. I don't think a lot of people have talked about that, but that could do wonders for our rushing offense as well, in addition to our passing offense. So what are your thoughts on Corey Davis?
Oh, I love Corey Davis. That's first off. I have one pet peeve with Corey Davis. And this is kind of nitpicking. He kind of sucked it out on that playoff game, man. I'm not saying it's the playoff game. Out, bro. Not cool to me. That's a no.
So did Chris Godwin, though.
I love Corey Davis, bro. Like, I'm a big Corey Davis guy. That'll be my number 1 target. I know everyone's Allen Robinson. I'm thinking about it as like the bigger names are going to get tagged. So I don't even think about it. I think they're going to get tagged.
I don't believe that with Allen Robinson, though. I really don't understand the rumors around like Deshaun Watson. The Bears don't have money. They probably don't even have enough money to sign Allen Robinson back. So what makes you think that they're going to go after Deshaun Watson with this $40+ million year?
Right now they are $980,000 above the cap. They don't have money.
It makes no sense, but that's why I think Allen Robinson won't he'll be on the market.
Yeah, but at the same token, like, you can go over the cap if you use the franchise tag. That's because some people don't realize if you're over the cap, the franchise tag is still designated as long as you create the cap space before the tag deadline. We got to sign long term. Film the tag applies. As long as they don't sign it yet, you can designate it to them. So they'll probably would tag Allen Robinson, make the space work, so they can keep him and then try to maybe get a long-term deal with him. I don't see a way he walks out of Chicago this year. The only way he walks out of Chicago this year is they don't designate the franchise tag, which I think it'll be so stupid. But no, man.
Why would he want to stay in Chicago, though? We haven't even talked about that. Why would he want to stay in Chicago? His quarterback situation is absolutely atrocious, one of the worst in the league. Why would he want to stay? He doesn't get consistent quarterback play.
He might have the same type of problem here.
But we're going after a guy at quarterback. I can make you guys this promise. I think we're legit going after a quarterback in this offseason. I think it's important, though, to get that quarterback early on, right? Because, if you're trying to attract receivers, like you said, you need a stable quarterback situation. And but go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. This your channel, bro. I ain't stopping you. This your show, big dog. I'm just a guest. But I said I love Corey Davis. I'm a big Corey Davis guy. As for I said, I'm just looking at Allen Robinson as a guy who can probably get tagged. Or a team that is much more quarterback ready will pick him up before we have a chance to pick him up. So I'm looking at guys. I'm looking at a guy like Pascal, a guy like that, because those guys are underrated. They are low key that no one's looking at, that you can pick up and they can boom. And you say, damn, you got him for that? Sheesh. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for that because we got that with Ron Darby last year. Got that with a couple of dudes. A couple of dudes that don't win deals and balled out of control. So I do think Corey Davis is my number 1 guy. I want Corey Davis. I want Corey Davis and Zach Pascal. I'm greedy. I want both. I always want to revamp the whole receiving core. I want to make Cam Sims a 4 because Cam Sims to me is a 4. I'm sorry. I don't know for Kevin Harmon. I find out when I find out. I want to revamp the whole receiver position. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Speaking of lasting memories of Cam Sims, I'm sorry guys. He made way too many drops over the last month of the season, even the playoff game. Like Cam Sims, I mean, we all saw the Pittsburgh Steelers catch that he made. That was amazing, one-handed, right? He was going down to the field and going down the field and was falling towards the field and ultimately caught the ball and stuff. We all saw that. We all know that. But if you look at his weekly tape, he made way too many drops during that stretch run where, especially like for example in the Panthers game, I believe, when we could have locked up, a playoff spot right there. I mean, people are not going to talk about it, but Sims didn't really show too much. And I think, yeah, like you said, if we can go after a Corey Davis and a Pascal, if we don't secure a guy like a Robinson or potentially, I want to get your thoughts on this guy as well, Chris Godwin. Then I definitely think that's the way to go. But what are your thoughts on Godwin?
Chris Godwin?
We're going off. I have notes and stuff. I have questions prepared.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm about to get it. I'm about to get in his. You know what? Mm-hmm. It's your channel. I can't say how I want to say. Mm-hmm. Woo! I'm gonna get in him. Woo, boy. Mm-hmm. He get on my nerves. Mm-hmm. He get on my nerves. These dropsies. Mm-hmm. Hey, I need him to get some stickum. We sign him. I need to get stickum. Hey, stickum has to come with Chris Godwin because he drops a lot of passes. I'm like, bruh.
The thing is, though,
drop that. I mean, the playoff game.
He hasn't been known for dropping a lot of passes over his career. It's just literally the last
bro. It's like the last month. He just dropping easy passes. Like, bro, he dropped passes me and you can catch. It's like, dog, come on, son, you can't drop those. Like the touchdown to the Saints, you can't drop that. That's just a no-no. You want a contract, you can't drop that. I just
maybe because he's not used to playing. I mean, I think he played at Penn State. I was about to say maybe he's not used to playing in the cold, but he played at Penn State, I believe, in college. So I don't know. Or Brady maybe just rocket fire passes with your old arm, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
To me, like Chris Godwin, I think he's pressing. It's like it feels like I'm about to be a free agent. I better catch everything. Or I'm out with a contract. I dropped it. I dropped another one. Okay. There's a confidence issue with Chris though. So I'm that's my only pet peeve with Chris Godwin. The route running is there, the speed is there, the athleticism is there. All stuff is there. Like and can he really play on the outside full time?
Yeah.
And that is another problem with Chris Godwin.
He's a juju in my opinion, that he can't really I mean Chris Godwin. Huh? Go ahead.
He's not a pure slot, but he's like a tweener. He can't really play either one full time. I don't know. It's interesting though. I do like Chris Godwin.
Speaking of slot receivers, again, since we're just going over the receivers right now available in the offseason, do you think? I hate to say it, but do you think Mr. Corvette might be an option here in DC from the Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Mr. Juju, Mr. Dancing all the time, Mr. Do some TikTok on some team logos. What do you think? Do you think he'll join us?
Do I think about Juju Smith-Schuster? You probably know what I think about Juju Smith. I don't know if they know, but I think everyone knows. I'll say. I like Juju Smith-Schuster a lot because he's not a legit number one. That's clear as day. That the evidence is there. No one can tell me. You say he's a number one, you're lying. Polygraph, you're lying. No way. But he's a legit number two. Like I think if he gets back to that number two role, like he was when he had Antonio Brown, and he kind of stayed in the cut and was that number two guy, we're gonna see that old Juju Smith-Schuster the first couple years in the league going nuts. I think we're gonna see that again. Because it takes all the attention away from him, number one, because he's not getting doubled every week. Number two, he can move around. He's a tweener, but he can play every position full time if need be. So I do like that a lot too. He can play on the outside, he can play in the slot, he can play everywhere. So I do like that a lot from Juju as well. And I think because it's lack of production, it's not going to cost as much as people think it is going to be to keep Juju Smith-Schuster either. And they still don't have money, so it's still a problem, but to keep him anyway. So that's my quick thoughts on Juju. I like Juju Smith-Schuster. I like him. 8 blocks in the run game. I love
another excellent blocker in this receiving crop.
He's nasty with it too. I can't remember that. I know you remember the one on Vontaze when he smacked the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I love receivers.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's crazy because I used to be a huge fan of Juju when AB was in Pittsburgh because I thought Juju was such an underrated receiver, across the league before he had the 1,000-yard season, obviously, or 1,300-yard season. And I thought, potentially when his contract was over, maybe he could sign with Washington because I took a look at the Steelers cap contract situation, and they weren't, too hot then, especially are not hot now. But I just think there are better options to go after. I think, we need to go after, the guys that I mentioned, Al Robinson. I will say though, it might be balanced out when it comes to going after a guy like Golladay compared to Juju, because Golladay is injured all the time, so he has that inherent risk that you have to weigh out when you're making decisions, big time decisions at the wide receiver position. But I mean, Juju's solid. I feel like he'll play definitely more on the outside. He'll still play in the slot, but he'll play more on the outside than he has in Pittsburgh the last couple of years. Because we do need an outside receiver as well. So should be interesting to see, man. I've never seen – I don't remember the last time I've seen a stacked receiving prop in the offseason like we're saying this offseason. It's absolutely bonkers. Excited to see it because this is literally we've needed a receiver for the last 3 years really since the Pierre got on Jackson days. But I think now, it's great to have this receiving crop at a time like now when we're trying to take the next step, and we know wide receiver is definitely a need on this team, arguably the second most important need. So I think it should be interesting to see how things play out. Again, appreciate everybody in the comments. Big Simple. Juju on that B. Ron is not going to take it away. Take that away. TikTok. No, he's definitely going to take that away. That's not a part of Washington. We don't do that, right? We don't tolerate that anymore. We have Ron Rivera. The man, the legend.
He's not allowed to be on TikTok.
Yeah, he's not going to be allowed.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's a little too lax.
I think so too. He's a great coach. I mean, he the Steelers were 8-8 with Mason Rudolph, and I believe Devlin Hodges.
Doc Hodges, Mason Rudolph, man.
Which is absolutely
a little bit of Joshua Dobbs sprinkled.
Yeah, a little bit of Joshua Dobbs. Speaking of, yes, he got sports. We do need to cut Sprinkle. I think his time. I mean, he's Ed Oliver's guy, right? Like he's his favorite fan, his favorite guy. Wears his jersey all the time. No, I'm joking. Jeremy Sprinkle definitely needs to be cut.
That's Louis T, man.
Yeah, we can't just cut him and not address the tight end position. We can't do that. We need to, add to the position. Maybe get tight end free agency. We'll see. I do want to move on from the wide receiver position and address the thing that everybody likely is here for, and that is the Deshaun Watson rumors and us talking about it. I was just wondering what are your thoughts on the rumors and how they've swirled since really the last week that we've been on here on the stream, especially the report from ESPN reporter Jeremy Fowler saying that the Panthers, Bears, and Washington are the 3 sleeper teams who might take a look at him and ultimately, pursue him. And, what are your thoughts on the rumors, and what do you think are the most ideal landing spots for Deshaun Watson if, this is the big if, he were to be traded?
Okay, so I'll start with the rumors. I think the rumors are true because we're looking for a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is 25 years of age. He has playing football within him. He is playing football. He isn't his apex yet, which I think is ridiculous. I think he can be better as a pocket passer. And as he gets older, as his legs start to kind of dip away out of his game, I just think he could be a guy who could be here for 15 years and not even lose a beat for 10 of them. So I think it's a perfect fit for us specifically. Now, as for the top 5 fits I had, I did a live stream on this not too long ago, but if people didn't watch, I guess I do that.
No, I did.
My top 5, Actually, one was in the AFC South, believe it or not, which is kind of funny. But 5 for me would be Chicago. Chicago would be 5. Miami would be 4. After that, Washington would be 3. The Jets would be 2 because I think that literally just jumpstarts the whole rebuild for the Jets. And my number 1 team, which would be kind of a shocker, actually, the number 4 with this team, let me rephrase that. The other team would be the Jacksonville Jaguars inside the AFC South because they had the number 1 pick in the draft. They have another first-round pick. They can literally just give you the kitchen sink for Deshaun. And they're not really a win-now team, so they wouldn't be able to kind of reap the benefits of giving up all that draft capital right away. It'll take them a little while. But also that allows Houston to kind of rebuild and maybe even leapfrog Jacksonville. They still have Deshaun too, which is kind of fun. That's kind of why I put them in there. But they'll be my number 4 team, and Miami will be the number 1 team for me anyway because they had the draft capital. They just went 10-6. They could go in full win now mode and just go nuts and just like, I'm trying to win now. Screw this. I need this huge. I need these receivers. I need to go trade for Deshaun. Give you 4 1s and 2 and just go crazy. Like they can just go crazy, bro. So I think Miami's number one fit. But I do think we're one of the top 5 fits around because we have the defense. We have the cap space to fit them in.
Yeah, I mean, if only Arthur, we could, snap of the fingers, we could ultimately get Deshaun Watson. It's gonna be tough. There are gonna be a lot of suitors. I think, again, I agree with you, Tony. I think the rumors are definitely true, especially, over the last couple of weeks. I mean, they've only been confirmed really that, Deshaun Watson's not happy in Houston, and I think this is a very interesting situation in the sense that it's very unique. Deshaun Watson has all the leverage. Like a lot of people forget he has a no trade clause, right?
He has a no trade clause.
Essentially, if he doesn't want to play, he gets to choose where he plays. Like this is an NBA player type situation, right? This is a James Harden type situation. This is, so many NBA players, they always have the leverage. They always, if they say they want to play for a team, they're ultimately going to play for that team. I think this is unique, for the NFL, but I think this is what Deshaun Watson is in for, And I think in terms of, the situation, I definitely shifted my stance. At the beginning, I thought, while the rumors might have been true that he might have been, angry about not being too much involved in, the head coach and the front office, decisions as much as he wanted and stuff. I thought, maybe Houston could sort of mend that relationship, but I don't think it can be mended now. I think he ultimately will get traded. I don't know if it will be this year or this offseason or it will be next offseason. I don't know, but I think he will get traded. I think his days in Houston are numbered. I will say, though, the absolute best landing spot for Deshaun Watson, the absolute best landing spot, take biases aside, would be the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I don't think any other place, any other team actually – I mean, I'll say Washington is actually pretty close to Miami, but I think Miami is the clear-cut favorite in my opinion. I mean, one, we already heard the rumors like 2 weeks ago about Miami being seriously in the running for Deshaun Watson if he were to be traded. 2, a lot of people forget this. They have the number 3 overall pick in the draft because that was Houston Texans draft pick. So even though they made the playoffs at 10-6, even though they have a very good defense, one of the best defenses in the league, arguably the defensive player in the year, my defensive player of the year, and Xavier Howard this year with 10 picks. Absolutely absurd.
He's definitely
They have offensive pieces. They have Devontae Parker. They have some good running backs. Maybe they'll add some pieces there. And the biggest key there, Tua. They have Tua. If they want to trade Tua, they can. Tua, in my opinion, I think he will bounce back next season. But even having said that, as is, he's still a talented player. He was still, a top 5 pick last year, and I think that situation is just perfect for Deshaun Watson. If he wants to win now, he can go to Miami. If he wants a team with a bunch of cap room, go to Miami. If he wants a team with a bunch of draft capital, if Houston Texans want that, right, want to recuperate a lot of draft picks back, especially their number 3 pick that they lost.
The number 3 trade, yeah.
They can do that. So I think it's a perfect scenario for both teams to ultimately complete. I will say though, I might make a video about this later, but with Washington, I think we're in the running as well. I think we're, if not number 2, maybe number 3. I think the Colts are also a very good pick, especially with Phillip Rivers retiring, and they have bunch of cap room. Also, a very talented defense. Once again, right? All familiar, very familiar occurrence among these 3 teams: Miami, Indianapolis, and Washington. But they also have, I would say, the best offensive weapons out of the 3 teams right now. They have some good receivers. They have a very solid running back who was a rookie last year, Jonathan Taylor. You also mentioned Nyheim Hines as well. I mean, they have some solid backs. I believe they have Jordan Wilkins as well. So they have some solid backs. I see you, Juan. Thank you so much for joining, bro. Appreciate the support.
What up?
Always, man. I appreciate the support. Go make sure to subscribe to Juan's channel if you haven't already. He's a great YouTuber, making great content. And again, appreciate you, bro, for joining. Right now we're talking about the Deshaun Watson situation. But I think Washington, again, is in the running. We have a very solid defense. We have all the cap room that you want really out of a team in the NFL right now. We have some pieces on offense. I believe Antonio Gibson, his emergence last year was huge in really attracting free agents, because now, free agents and and their agents themselves, won't just point to Washington only having one key offensive weapon in Terry McLaurin. We actually have another solid up-and-coming weapon in Antonio Gibson. So that could be, potentially a big piece there when it comes to securing receivers or securing anybody in the offseason. And, and we have a bunch of cap room again. Draft capital is there. So the one thing, though, with Washington, which is, very much sad for us, is that, we're picking 19th overall. We don't have a top 10, top 5 draft pick, right? So if we're going to give up a first-round pick this year, it might not be the most attractive to the Houston Texans, right? They want to have high-end draft capital in addition to potentially recuperating, a high-end talent as well. Although we add in a piece like one of the very many pieces that we have on our defensive line, maybe that could push us over the top to potentially secure Deshaun Watson here in DC. I don't know. I still put the chances of him landing here in DC. I think they're very low still. I really believe that. Although, it feels like they're increasing every single day. So we shall see. Tony, do you think if Deshaun Watson actually ends up here in DC, will legit be Super Bowl contenders?
Yes. Instantly.
Agreed.
I don't care who you give up. As long as you're not giving up 2 of our starting linemen, like you're not telling me, hey, I'm getting up 3 ones and dropping out on Deron Payne all in one deal. Yes, we're Super Bowl contenders. Like, I think honestly, we had Deshaun Watson in this playoff run, we'll be playing NFC Championship right now. It would not be the Buccaneers. We'd have beat the Buccaneers.
I agree.
We would beat them with Taylor Heineke. We'll beat them with Taylor Heineke. I'm not going to say this again. We'll beat them with Taylor Heineke.
Although, again, they did not have Devin White. That was someone who I mentioned on the last live stream that was going to be the difference between winning and losing against the Saints.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But the fact was, even without Devin White, we were not supposed to be in that game with Taylor Heineke. Like even without Devin White, they still had Levante David, they still had JPP, they still had the pass rushers, they still had everyone else. They had enough defensive talent to literally destroy us, and was in that game until the 4th quarter with Taylor Heineke. I assert Deshaun Watson in the game, and Deshaun Watson win that game. I think we beat the Saints. Drew Brees had no arm. We're playing an NFC Championship game with Deshaun Watson right now. So I think we're Super Bowl contenders immediately, as long as there's a bunch of draft capital and not a bunch of players. Yeah. And back to the job back to the wide receiver position. That's why I picked up all the low key guys, because you want to have cap space just in case for Deshaun Watson. He will get about that.
I don't think. Yeah, I think for sure if we're going after Deshaun Watson, we actually secure him, which would be insane. If we do that, we're not going after a guy like Allen Robinson or Kenny Galladay. Like what? So maybe we might have the money to, but it's not just that. You have to think long term. Terry's going to be up for a contract relatively soon. You have, again, you have like a bunch of other ones as well that you're going to have to pay. So I think just in terms of salary cap, it would be very smart to go after guys like you said, like maybe Corey Davis at the high end, right, in terms of money value, and then go after like a guy like Zach Pascal. Maybe I really don't want to, but maybe take a flyer on like a Ross, right, or some other guys that are available in free agency. But I do want to say, in the comments, Outlaw King, thank you, bro, for joining. I appreciate it as always. Always making comments. I see it. I don't think it doesn't go unseen. I talked about this earlier. Matt Stafford is, I think, the likely choice. I think my favorite choice if we're not going to go after like a dream guy like Deshaun Watson at this point. I also think Big Simple is a very good point. Deshaun Watson trade in the division, that would be tough. I think that's something that Houston is definitely going to have to consider, and might put Colts down, on my list. But I definitely still think Miami, it just makes too much sense. I know the Jets. Arthur brought up the Jets. I mean, remember, Deshaun Watson has the leverage in this trade, in my opinion, right? He has a no-trade clause, so he gets to pick where he wants to go. Why in the heck would he want to go to the New York Jets?
I didn't even say why the
hell. Okay. Do they have the talent on that team? No. I mean,
they're a few pieces away from even doing something.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say this though. With him being so young though, if he did choose the Jets, it would not be a bad fit. Hear me out though. They have the cap space. Hear me out. I'll make this super brief. You have the cap space. They have some talent. It's not that they don't have no talent on the team. And it's in New York. The market, him marketing himself is so huge. He is a quarterback after all. You have to market yourself. And what a better market in New York. And they have a young quarterback they can trade too, by the way, Sam Darnold.
I get that. But again, like if you're considering the amount of leverage that Deshaun Watson has in this situation, right? He has a no trade clause. Again, that's something that a lot of people are forgetting. He has the no trade clause. This is an NBA-like situation. This is a James Harden-like situation where he gets to pick where he wants to play if he doesn't want to play anymore in Houston. Why in the heck would he want to play for the New York Jets? Like, why? They have shown
this year we don't really
not had much improvement over the years. It's going to be a very futile franchise. I hate to say it because I really feel for Jets fans. Jets fans are awesome, right? They always support their team, much like us, right? Even with all the little success that we've had over the last couple of years. But like, I just don't understand why Deshaun Watson would want to go to the Jets, because you have to have his acceptance for the team in order to execute the trade. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I think the Dolphins are the clear-cut favorite. I really believe that. I mean, it gives you the market you want in Miami. It gives you the nice weather. It gives you, again, if you're Houston, it gives you the cap, the trade, the draft capital that you want. And if you're Miami, you have a bunch of cap room. If you go after a guy like Deshaun Watson, you also go after like one of the top tier receivers in free agency as well, much like Washington. But I think the reason why I have Miami on my list higher than Washington is, again, the high-end draft picks. The number 3 overall pick in the draft, that can give you an immediate impact stud, which, if you're picking at 19, it's a crapshoot, right? Really, if we're going to be honest. I will say, though, again, I want to shout out everybody in the chat. King Sean, as always, appreciate you, man. Things on YouTube as well, so make sure to go check him out on YouTube. Another great watching football team YouTubers. We always gotta, stay close to each other. It's a tight knit community and support one another. Be Nizzle, Alex, my friend, what's good? Jets need better management. Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, if you're looking at it from Deshaun Watson side of things, why would you want to go to the Jets? I just don't understand it. I really don't. Outside of market, and maybe you see the Jets and you see how much capital money they have, draft capital they have, although they would probably have to give up a lot of draft picks. I just don't think it's an ideal situation. I really don't. I mean, their best offensive weapon is Jamison Crowder. That's it. That is it. Like, that is literally it.
Hold on, I like Denzel Mills. Hold on. Denzel Mills.
Jamison Crowder is better. What are you talking about?
Jamison Crowder's a dog. Well, I love James.
Yeah.
No, Natty.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about Jamison Crowder. What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about it. Just never left this damn building.
Hassan, appreciate you for joining the stream as well.
Hey, Sean, what's up, bro?
And we did talk about the hire at the very beginning. I think we both like the Mayhew hire that we had today. He's been a great assistant, in the league. Obviously, everybody knows him for his struggles in Detroit at the tail end of his time there. But, I mean, even before that, he was picking some solid guys. Again, I mentioned Darius Slay wasn't a high-end first-round pick, so it wasn't really, guaranteed that he would show out for Detroit, but he has become one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Matthew Stafford, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, albeit it was with the first overall pick. maybe we could go after a guy like him. The connections are just there for the taking. So, but yeah, I think we both like the Mayhew pick. We both were conflicted about the general manager hire that we had. We both thought it was pretty meh at the beginning, but we're both coming around it, I believe. So two interesting hires for sure, and we're definitely going to take a general manager by committee approach with the current front office structure that we have right now. And Venus, I see you, appreciate you as well, and shout out Protech as well. Alex, again, my good friend, with another fire comments in the chat. Watson is going to go to a budding team. Again, yeah, Miami looks way too good. Jets aren't good enough yet. They're, like Tony said, they're not just pieces away from contending. They're pieces away from being anything in the NFL right now, and being like a legit, respectable NFL franchise. They have no receivers really outside of James Crowder. Denzel Mims, maybe. He might show some things, but he's very, very young. And I believe he was injury prone this year, correct, Tony?
He only played 5 games this year.
Yeah.
He showed one for 5 games, but he didn't play the whole season.
Yeah. Their O-line, I mean, we didn't even talk about that. Their O-line isn't good either. And Miami, at least.
Makai Ben is damn good.
No, that's true. That's true. They picked him up. He's huge. He's humongous. But Alex, we're on the same wavelength, man. Like, Miami is too good of a destination for Deshaun Watson to not pick. I think it's really down to Miami. For Deshaun Watson's perspective, I think it's down to Miami and Washington and the Colts. But when it comes to Houston, factoring in the fact that like they don't want to play Deshaun Watson twice a year, maybe the Colts, you have to take them down. But even the Bears might be a good pick from Deshaun Watson's perspective. But again, they don't have salary cap room. Like, I'm here in Chicago, I hear all the time people want Deshaun Watson. They really don't. But yeah, and Bigsimple here with the comments. Deshaun Watson can do Texans dirty just because we might have the lower picks. I mean, yeah, that is true, but you can't just have Deshaun Watson say he wants to go to a team and then ultimately have him go. Like, you need to have some front office structure, some forward thinking about the Houston Texans. So it should be interesting to see how things play out. Again, I don't put the chances of him being in DC at this point, right? It's January 20, 2021. At being too high, but things could always change as they do every single week in the NFL. I do, with the last few minutes that we have on this stream, I do want to ask you 2 questions. So the first question will be, do you think that this is Washington's division for the taking for the next couple of years? Do you think the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Giants will give Washington a run for their money? Or do you think Washington has the best chance of being, an NFC East winner for years to come, representing the NFC East in the playoffs, maybe making a Super Bowl run? Also, I guess a sub part of that question, do you think it's critical that we get a guy like Deshaun Watson or Matt Stafford for that to happen? Or do you think we have the infrastructure in place right now to ultimately make that run even with a top 10 to 12 quarterback and those 2 guys that I just mentioned?
Okay. So I'm going to start with the NFC East question. The NFC East is a crapshoot every year. I'll be honest. I'll just be honest with you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say we should dominate the division. I did talk trash after after my video at the playoff game. I said, this is our
– You did.
word. I said, this is our but I do believe that, though, depending on the quarterback. You cannot tell me going to the season Collins our starter and we're going to dominate the division. I will slap the franchise in their face. It's a darn lie. Now, you tell me it's Matthew Stafford. Oh, yeah, we're talking. Let's go. We're smashing the division. We're sweeping them. Let's go. I want all smoke, all 3 of them. I don't care. If it's Deshaun Watson, it's over with. Get out of our way. Move. NFC, get out of our way. Through the East. NFC, get out of our way. Rodgers, get out of our way. Everyone, get out of our way. It's our conference. That's it. That me. If we get Deshaun, we're Super Bowl contenders. If we get Matthew Stafford, we're a playoff team, and we're like consistently in the playoffs. We should win the division next 2 or 3 years in a row. But if you tell me it's just Kyle Allen or Taylor Heineke is my starter, I'm not subscribing to that. It's bullcrap. I do think it's our division to lose, especially next year. I look at the Eagles. The Eagles are in flux. They are in salary cap hell. They don't know what direction they're going. They don't know how to have.
How much are they over the salary cap right now?
like 40 million. It's some ridiculous number. They're screwed. Let's just get them out the way. Dallas Cowboys. Are they keeping Dak, or they letting Dak walk? I mean, that's another option that people ain't talking about. Dak.
He was injured, right? Like, not if he was healthy. I mean, a lot more people would be talking about it, but
yeah, exactly. I think the Giants are the one team.
Yeah, I think the Giants.
They get their act together at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. If Daniel Jones can show something, or they get a quarterback that can show something, the Giants are the one team I'm scared of.
See, the problem is they don't even need a quarterback that shows anything. See, the problem, Tony, is that they don't need a quarterback that shows anything because, like, Daniel Jones always beats up against us. So, I mean, if we're both, neck and neck for the NFC East crown next couple of years, the Giants might just have it unless we find a way to lock up Daniel Jones in the run game and even in the pass game as well. I mean,
I feel that, but at the same token, they only play us twice this season instead of playing the other 14 games on the schedule.
Yeah.
So, I love an Indian improved quarterback play for them other 14 games on the schedule because they can't. They're not gonna play Washington 16 times. Any play of a team, and they go 2-0 against us, but they go 4-10 against the rest of the league. Then they're a 6-10 team. So they need better quarterback play for me. For I even really consider them a true contender for the division title every year. But that's the one team I am semi-petrified of. I'll be honest. I don't want to play the Giants. They get on my nerves.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I think Giants definitely give us the biggest test next couple of years. They have a solid defense. Really a defense that I did not think was going to be nearly as good as it was this year. Logan Ryan, someone who, if you look back at my off-season videos, and I believe you as well, Tony, we all wanted Logan Ryan, and we were proven right. Logan Ryan is a stud. Yes, he gives up some big plays in the passing game, but what cornerback doesn't? We saw that with Kendall Fuller. We saw that with Ron Darby, even though they've had two very good seasons. But yeah, Giants are definitely the team that I'm most worried about because they have that defense. Also, don't forget, they have Saquon Barkley coming back. They have Saquon Barkley coming back. Darius Slayton, I think he will rebound off the bad year that he had this year. I mean, his rookie year was actually pretty solid. Golden Tate, we'll see if he stays around. But I think they're going to add pieces at the wide receiver position. Evan Ingram, Pro Bowler. You can say whatever you want about it. I mean, didn't deserve to be in the Pro Bowl. Logan Thomas did more. But even having said that, he is still a pretty good tight end in this league, right? In a league that is very, very deficient in tight ends, solid tight ends. So I think the Giants are building something. It's all about the quarterback for them as well. I think if they maybe go after another guy quarterback to shore out that position, it should be set. Daniel Jones, though, I mean, I don't know about him. I really don't. I'm happy, though, that people finally realize. I literally have said this since I think Dwayne Haskins' third start, that Daniel Jones is clearly better than Dwayne Haskins. And now everybody knows that, obviously, because Haskins was cut, showed us nothing this year, and was deservedly cut. But I do want to backtrack a little bit. Gregory made up an absolutely fantastic point in the discussion that we had earlier about teams that Deshaun Watson could ultimately end up. 49ers. How can we forget? Like, 49ers are arguably
49ers.
They would have to unload Jimmy Garoppolo, though. They cannot have Jimmy Garoppolo on the books for almost $30 plus million a year. I mean, that's the biggest issue there. If they do find a way to unload him, perfect fit. They have the defense. It's going to come back next year. They're close to coming back. They have the defensive line. They have the secondary still. They have the receivers, period, right? If you consider wide receivers and tight ends are one of the best groups in the league. It's absolutely bonkers. They have Deebo Samuel. They have Brandon Ayuk. They have obviously George Kittle, who's back for the tail end of last season and should be back next year for a full season, hopefully. Oh my gosh, the run game. Raheem Mostert. I mean, he had he didn't have too great of a season, but he was injured for most of the season, right? They had Mostert. They had Tevin Coleman, who
Jared Cannon, so nobody. Secret weapon.
Yeah. I mean,
if they could do the zone read with the shot,
dude, they have one of the best
offenses. I don't think about it.
If they get Deshaun Watson, that's it. They're definitely going to be Super Bowl contenders.
I will say this though: if they trade for Deshaun, though, just as a quick side note, they would have to trade Bosa. They would have to trade Nick Bosa. There's no way in hell. I'm telling you, there's no way they're going to trade Deshaun and not get a star player in return. There's just no way. They need a ticket seller.
Why can they trade Deshaun Watson to us, but we not have to give up Chase Young?
We're going to give up like John Allen or something like that. We're going to give up somebody.
It's not just a Nick Bosa show, right? Like, they have absolute studs on the defensive line as well. They have Eric Armstead.
Almost scares you, though.
Huh?
Outside him and Eric Armstead, no one really scares you. Like, Solomon Thomas doesn't scare you.
Kinlaw looks like
everyone on our line scares teams. We have guys on our line.
But Tony, they also have a bunch of receivers that they could trade as well. I mean,
I
think so. If we're ranking once again, I think Miami again, clear-cut favorite for me. Then I still think it's going to be Washington because the 49ers have to figure out how they're going to unload Jimmy Garoppolo's contract first. So I think they're going to be players. Then I'll put the Colts. And then you can pick whoever you want at 5. I mean, maybe the Jets. I just don't like that pick. Or maybe the Bears.
I've been the Jets at 5.
Nowhere to be found.
Teams. They got no one picking the draft.
Yeah, that is true. I just think, okay, from Houston's perspective, absolutely great, trade they can make with the Jets. From Deshaun Watson's perspective, why would he want to go to the Jets? Again, he has the leverage. I keep saying it on this stream. He has the leverage. He has the no trade clause. If he doesn't want to play, Houston can't just not do anything, right? Like, they're going to have to trade him, and he has the leverage to pick who he wants to trade, who he wants to be traded to. So I just think.
And the funny thing is, though, if he got traded to the Jags,
it's
actually a perfect deal for both parties because they get a franchise quarterback and the Jaguars do, and also the Texans get a franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and Deshaun gets to play them twice a year just for revenge. It's just over picture perfect, and it allows the speed their rebuild up. Because if you do it in a division, you're going to ask for more capital than a team that's outside your division. So you're going to ask. You ask for 3 1s. You ask for 4 1s from Jacksonville, and probably a 2 and something else. You get 4 1s and a 2 and a player. I can't beat that.
I have to give up someone. I mean, we're gonna have to give up someone a stud on our team, man. Much like we gave us someone that we did not want to give up when we made the Alex Smith trade and Kendall Fuller years back. I think that's what we're gonna have to do. I mean, again, I just don't think we have high enough draft picks where we can trade those picks and then maybe give them, a guy like a Tim Settle, right, who shows a lot of promise but isn't a stud yet. I think we're gonna have to give up one of our studs on our defensive line. I don't know who it's gonna be. I mean, I don't think if we're gonna pick between Jonathan Allen and Matt Ioannidis is probably gonna be the guy. I think, especially because he's coming off an injury, you don't know where you're gonna have him. Although I think we have an inclination that he's going to be very good this year once again. But Jonathan Allen's he had a very amazing year. Everybody looks at the stats numbers and see that he had 1.5 sacks, I believe, this season, which is very much very lower than his, I believe, 8 sacks that he had a couple years back, and think that he had a down year. No, this was his best season to date. I just don't think we can trade him, but maybe Payne, or I think Ioannidis would probably be the likely pick there. But I do, to wrap up our stream, though, because I do not want to hold you too much longer, I do want to get into the NFL playoffs and the 2 matchups that we have this Sunday. We have the NFC Championship game between the Packers and the Bucs, and we also have the AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Bills. And as I do with the guests on every stream that we've had during the playoffs, can you give me your predictions for the 2 matchups? And if you're so inclined, can you give me your Super Bowl pick this year in terms of who's going to win it all?
Sure. No problem with that. We have a big star who is in question of playing this week, so this kind of changes everything.
Full participant in practice. Yeah.
Practice, but we'll see. I think he's going to play, but it's not 100% certain. So, I had to give a caveat. I had to say if this person is going to play. If he doesn't play, I have to say anything else. If Patrick Mahomes plays this week, the Chiefs are not losing to the Bills. I don't care. They win that game. I said a score 42-35. That's what I'm leaning towards. A high scoring, just monster. Kind of like that Rams Chiefs game on that Monday night. If you remember, it was like 100 points in the game. It was just fires galore. It's going to be one of those games. One of those. As for the Packers and Bucks, the Packers are out for revenge for that Week 6 thrashing. They're out for revenge. Aaron Rodgers not gonna let this happen in Lambeau. No, give me the Packers. I know it's Tom Brady. I know don't ever bang us to go. I don't care. I'm bang us to go. Give me Aaron Rodgers to win that game. And I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to repeat as Super Bowl champions as long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy.
Yeah, biggest caveat there. But if you guys go check the tape, because before the playoffs, my prediction for the Super Bowl was the Chiefs versus the Packers, and I'm sticking to it. I think the Chiefs. Yep, yeah, I did say that. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's a chalk pick, right? You got the number 1 seed in both conferences." No, I usually don't do that. I usually pick a wild card team every single year, but this year I just thought Chiefs and Packers clear-cut favorites, in my opinion, make the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs will beat, if obviously they have Patrick Mahomes and he's healthy and he plays in the week's matchup. I think they will beat the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, as the Washington football team, have been the team that I've most rooted for the entire season. You know this, Tony, by now. I am probably one of the biggest Josh Allen fans in the Washington football team community. Josh Allen is amazing. I have a friend who was on the stream, I believe, a couple of weeks back, who absolutely does not like Josh Allen. Let's just say he does Sports Talk Radio. But we'll leave it at that.
What are you talking about?
I think he's worthy of consideration this season, but we'll leave it at that. I thought going into last season, Lamar Jackson was going to be a legit MVP contender. Was an MVP contender, ultimately won. Going into the season, I was in the minority. I actually thought Josh Allen was going to have a great season and was actually going to be an MVP consideration. I hate it when people on YouTube say, all the analysts say, nobody thought Josh Allen was going to be here at this point, buying for MVP trophy, except for your guy, Nazi. But we'll leave it at that. I will say, though, the Bills' defense, I mean, they have Tre'Davious White, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, but I just don't trust their defense to really contain Patrick Mahomes and elite weapons that the Chiefs have on their offense. I think Chiefs will win. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as Tony thinks, but I think it's going to be maybe 31 to 27, something like that. Chiefs will be in the Super Bowl once again. And then I think the Packers will beat I think they will win the NFC Championship this week, and they will beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. I know Tom Brady scares the living daylights out of me if I were a Packers fan, because he just shows up for the brightest moments. He is undoubtedly the GOAT. If you say otherwise, I'm sorry. I was a Peyton Manning fan growing up, and that was my guy. Huge fan. My dad was a huge fan as well, and we used to always watch Bulls games because of Peyton Manning. But I even have to say, I mean, it's not even close in my opinion. Tom Brady is the GOAT, and I think he should show up in this game, but I think Aaron Rodgers will also show up as well. Although I do worry about the Bucs defense now with Devin White. I mean, we saw what happened last week. He showed up. The Mr. 9 sacks at the middle linebacker position showed up and was one of their best defensive players once again, and is going to be a stud for years to come. So do worry about that there. I think the Packers, I think they just, like I said, Chiefs-Packers was my pick. I think the Packers just have too much going for them to not make the Super Bowl this year. I think I've been saying this is their year. And let me just say again, going into the playoffs, I have the Packers winning it all. I'm sticking with it. I think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I've been thinking this is their year. I really believe that. We'll see. Again, I'm worried about the Bucs right now. I'm worried about that test. But if they get past the Bucs, they're going to be the Chiefs. I really believe that. I really do. I really do. This is the first time when Aaron Rodgers' boat is looking like an MVP candidate and likely MVP winner, and he has a legit defense. This is the first time since probably his last Super Bowl run, right? Because he's had a legit defense the last couple of years, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers, everybody thought he was going to be on the decline. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is declining. He's 37 years old. What does he have left? He has nothing to show. And then just like people had with LeBron James, had amnesia there. Like I used to say with my friends, people had amnesia with Aaron Rodgers. LeBron James is still at the top of the NBA. Aaron Rodgers is still at the top of the NFL, in my opinion. So I think he's going to show up, and I think he's going to have a big game. And we're going to have Chiefs versus Packers, Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers, man. That's going to be a Super Bowl for the ages if we get there.
Two best quarterbacks in football going at it. That's matchup. Yeah. Now, I want one more thing real quick. The reason I picked the Chiefs over the Bills is not because of Patrick Mahomes specifically, but the Bills don't have a Chris Jones. They don't have a Chris Jones on their team. They don't have a guy like that. I like Tremaine Edmonds. I like Tre'Davious White. They don't have Chris Jones on that line. Chris Jones wants to be disruptive.
They wanted to have one at Oliver, but not the YouTuber, but the defensive lineman. Yeah.
Real at Oliver. Or the fake at Oliver in this case. The fake at Oliver.
Homeboy's going to play. You did say that on the stream. Again, if you guys go check the stream on Sunday, the first time I had this mic, and also the first time that Corey and I talked about, potentially Mahomes, playing or not playing this upcoming weekend. I'll just say, I didn't say that he wasn't going to play. I just thought, there was a lot of uncertainty there. But no, Corey he kept saying, no, he's going to play. I'll put money on it. And he doesn't usually put money on things. So I give you kudos there. I think he's definitely going to play now, especially after being a full participant in a Wednesday practice with a concussion, which is kind of crazy because he did look extremely wobbly last weekend and definitely gave you some pause there. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I don't know. Bigsimple422 for Tom Brady working on the referee right now. Exactly, man. We saw it when he played. I wasn't usually a huge I don't know what you want to call it, but I wasn't one of those people who kept saying, Tom Brady, the refs, they're the reason why, he wins all these games. I didn't think they had that big of a contribution until I finally saw him play against the Washington football team. And we saw, man, how many penalties did the refs just not call? It was absolutely bonkers. And yeah. Alex, I see the comment here. Yeah, I say it's Rodgers' year. I've been saying that. I've been saying it's Rodgers' year as well. And part of me wants it to be, not just because of prediction, but I've been a huge Aaron Rodgers fan as well. We'll see. Hopefully the Packers find a way. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers does not do what Drew Brees does and does not, really fold under, the defensive pressure, the defense, the solid defense, in the playoffs. Hopefully he doesn't do that. And, last couple of years in the playoffs, much like the Saints, the Packers have underwhelmed. If we're going to keep it a buck, and they have underwhelmed. So we'll see if the Packers make the run that we all have expected they would make, since the last time they made the Super Bowl. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, instead of saying it for the folks in the back, I'm saying it for the folks who are watching right now, Corey. So even better. But I do want to, again, not keep you on for too much longer, Tony. Thank you so much, bro, for joining the stream as always. It was a fun one. Appreciate the talk. Appreciate the support in the chat as well. Tom Brady, he doesn't choke, man. He doesn't choke. If the Bucs lose, it's probably going to be because their defense is going to show up or their weapons going to show up. But I mean, I just don't think Brady's going to be the reason they lose. We'll see though. We'll see. Maybe it's the NFL, things are unpredictable. We'll see. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I did see a couple of people on here that were new that I haven't seen before. So in the chat, see you, Alex. One of my high school friends. Appreciate you for joining, bro. And hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. It was very much a democracy-rich Wednesday in the nation's capital today, and I'm glad that we ended it off on a good note. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you on the next one. Hopefully, that video that I promised you guys with a very prominent Washington football team reporter does get released potentially by the end of next week. We'll see, but he's been pretty busy. Don't want to say who it is, but I'll leave you guys guessing there. But yeah. Might have a stream after the matchups on Sunday. We'll see. Maybe, a quick little stream. I know Tony is going to have a stream. I know Corey's going to have a stream. Go check out their content, guys. They literally do their streams throughout all the games and do it very well. So make sure you guys go check out the content. I believe I already put Tony's channel in the description, but if I haven't already, I'll make sure to do that. Again, I do think I already did. But, any last words, Tony, before we sign off?
Well, any last comments? Yeah. Oh, well, I want to thank Natty for having me put up to the channel, man. I'm always supporting DV Sports Zone, man. Him and his boy Noah get it in, man. They know what they're doing, especially on fantasy football and all that. They them guys, man, up and coming guys, man. Mm-hmm. And also, man, if y'all want to go sub me up, man, my channel name is Protech Sports. Go hit the sub button, man. I'm on the road to 1K, man. So help your boy out, man. I'm trying to go crazy on these streets, and we're gonna make it happen. I got to stream on Sunday. I got to stream tomorrow. Bruh, I'm bringing the content, bro. I'm bringing the content.
As usual. Appreciate it. Thank you for bringing the energy as well, and have a great rest of your night, guys, and stay safe out there. And see you on the next one. Peace.
Help you.